Oh, it is magic to
It
me.
is magic. Sure
It's
is.
also Greek to me. I
It works.
I
All we
wouldn't I
need is
wouldn't
for
know
it to
how to do
work.
any of this.
No, but that's why you bought me.
That's correct.
Was the purpose of the
A
purchase.
good investment too.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
Pays me back
Doesn't it just?
all the time.
All the time. I like this little bit. Look, I'm like a beautiful cockatoo. Like a beautiful cockatoo. Oh, I have the cough from hell, and so does Daisy. And I was sitting downstairs, just like dying a little bit, and going, "Okay, here we go. We're gonna do this thing." Everybody's sick though. It's that time. 'Tis that time when everyone is getting sick. So really, I'm just fitting in with the cool kids.
Well, I guess that's true.
If we're being real, and we are, I'm just trying to fit in with the cool kids.
Alice and I are determined to get our shots this week.
Yes, like puppies, it's time for your shots. Just like puppies, it's
All of
time
our
for your shots.
Yeah.
Hi. Oh, hi, Jeremy. We were supposed to go see our friend today, but I'm hacking, and so is Daisy. And I didn't want to bring that into your home because I love you, and I did not want to cough on you. That seemed like not the friendly thing to do. Hey, pal, who I love. I'm just gonna cough on you real quick and see how you feel about it. No, not gonna do that. Not going to do that. How is everybody else? I hope you guys are not getting the cold that everyone else is getting. You guys have yet to hit the cold front, so fingers crossed. Let's keep you that way. Uh,
And of course, it's hot as blazes here.
I was just texting with one of my best friends in the UK, and do you see how far back you are?
Yes, I
man?
do
What are we
see.
going to do with you? What are we going to do with you, huh? I was just texting with Charlie because they are pumpkin picking today. They've taken Finn pumpkin picking, and it looks so cute. And I am so jealous. And I told her how hot it is here, and she goes, "Well, that's not what it's supposed to be. Has anyone told?
Yeah.
Has anyone told anyone that that's not what it's supposed to be right
And
now?"
no
And
one
I
has
said,
told the pumpkins,
"No."
which melt.
Oh well, that's my favorite thing is that
Well,
people
they don't melt; they collapse.
they explode. They don't. They explode. If a pumpkin gets too hot, it explodes, which is kind of hilarious, but also not ideal. But that's it. We were looking the other day when Scott and I went to get groceries, and Ralph's has all these pumpkins, and I said, "You can't get them yet.
No.
We're gonna walk outside and just go poof, poof, pumpkins.
Nope.
Pumpkins just killing themselves.
Gotta hold off till that mercury goes down.
Till everything drops a bit. Which it's doing that horrible thing where it is going to get a little cooler, like the 80s, and then in a few days it's supposed to go back to the 90s. My husband just took our daughter to the park, and he sent me a photo, and she was just red. She is so my kid. She was just like a little tomato because it's so hot outside. It's one of those things. It's the joy of living here. On the one hand, I'm jealous of everybody who gets seasons. On the other hand, I know that we're very lucky that it's not snowy and rainy and all the rest. But what can I say? I kind of like the snow and the rain.
I saw a Betty Davis movie last night I've never seen before.
Well, then.
Not because it's rare or difficult to see. I just
hadn't seen it.
Hadn't seen it. And it was presented by Eddie Muller on Noir Alley on Turner Classic Movies. And it's called Deception, 1946.
Deception.
And very entertaining.
Yeah.
Very entertaining.
Good.
And it has a great score by Eric Wolfgang Korngold, including a cello concerto that he composed for this film and for Paul Henreid to play. Monica Henreid, who we've met, Paul's daughter, said that because he seems to really be playing it. I mean, the fingering is and then his attitude, everything is very authentic.
Yeah. Oh, apparently our picture's back to normal.
Oh, great. Good.
Guys, I spent the last hour trying to fix it. So I really hope that if you are watching us on YouTube or on Facebook, that we're facing the right way. Because to us, it shows us as being backwards now. But I hope that it works for you. So hooray. Hooray, hooray, I fixed it. Okay. Continue.
Eddie said that it was his understanding that they had tied his arms behind his back and had two cellists in his sleeves.
Okay.
Doing the fingering and the fretwork.
2 cellists in his sleeves.
Now, I'd heard that about John Garfield playing the violin in Humoresque,
Mm-hmm.
but I hadn't heard it about this. As he said that, they showed a clip again, so we could stare at it real hard.
Yeah.
If they did that, it's an incredible illusion.
Yeah.
An incredible illusion.
I'm just imagining they're trying to like putting makeup on the hands to make sure they match up enough.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it's your hand and my hand not really
Yeah,
looking like
yeah.
it should be that way.
Right. And Betty Davis plays a pianist, and she did play the piano apparently.
Yeah.
But even so, she was playing the Appassionata, and it looked good. Piano faking is one of my pet peeves.
No. Bad piano faking.
Bad piano faking.
To clarify,
is one of my pet peeves.
Bad piano faking.
Yeah.
Makes us. Well, see, this is always I think it's really funny how. So I have a lot of patience for small indie films, be they documentaries, whatever they are, if there are little mistakes, because you sort of feel like, well, they don't have the budget. They may not be able to shoot this scene 10 more times. They may not be able to fix it in post. I have a lot of patience for that. But these big movies that have those issues, I have zero respect. It's, come on, guys, how did you screw this up? And one of those things is when you'll cut to somebody else and clearly they didn't get the coverage right, or the mouth is off, something's very wrong and they are not fixing it. And it takes me out all the time. So the same way that you always have that, where it's like, you can tell somebody's just, remember, that cat meme where the cat's just doing this on a keyboard? That is how my dad feels. And for me, it's more so that when they cut and someone's going, ha 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 ha, and it cuts back and they're from behind clearly having a conversation, makes me nuts. And now I've made my husband notice it. So he sees it too, which cracks me up, because he'll go, damn it, you ruined this for me. And I was like, well, if I'm going to suffer, you're going to suffer with me.
In A Bill of Divorcement, Katharine Hepburn's first movie, she plays John Barrymore's daughter. And in a crucial dramatic scene, Barrymore goes to the piano and plays something so poorly. And he's a wonderful actor, but
yeah,
this didn't concern him.
Everybody has to have their foibles.
Oh, and Claude Rains plays a conductor, the composer-conductor, and he conducts a passage of the symphony and does it beautifully.
Mm-hmm.
He really convinces you that he is conducting correctly.
Mm-hmm.
But he's an incredible actor.
Yeah. Thoughts on Jackie Condon of Our Gang, his contributions and influences on the motion picture industry?
Offhand, I can't. I have to go. I would have to go back to my notes. My notes and my partner Dick Band's notes.
Many notes. Did you see the short interview with Glynis Johns? She just turned 100. Oh, yeah.
Our friend George Pinocchio.
God bless George. God bless George.
KABC here in Los Angeles.
He does the Lord's work. And I'm not kidding when I say that. He is one of the people that really deeply cares about his community.
Yeah.
About
the show business community in Los Angeles.
Yeah. But also just good deeds in Los Angeles in general. But he really is. He's the guy that will go to the thing other people wouldn't go to. He's the guy who will find a way to get something on air. He's very, very kind, and he works really hard. And I'm always so impressed with what he does. Because again, not everybody's going to go visit Glynis, though they should. Not everyone's going to go do it. And he did it, which just, wonderful.
If you missed it, she just turned 100.
That was Glynis John just turned 100. Hey, Jesse and Leonard. Hello. We are just 1 week away from the 100th anniversary of the Walt Disney Company on October 16th. It does make you laugh a little bit, the way that now 100 years or 50 or whatever are sometimes celebrated like before.
Oh, yeah.
Or like the 100th celebration has been going on since like last year.
Yeah.
Hey, it's great. Hooray for Disney. Not hooray for the people who run things, but hooray for the joy that it brings a lot of us.
Yep.
I'm planning on taking Daisy to Disneyland for the first time in November. Daisy will be 2 on October 26th, which is crazy. But yeah, I decided.
You don't think it's too soon?
I think she'll love it.
Okay.
I love it at Christmas. I love Disney for Christmas.
Of course, it's wonderful.
It's so beautiful. And so the plan, you've heard this before. We talked about this, that we were going to take her.
Oh, I know.
Yeah. No, I think that going in, not thinking about doing any rides, quite literally just taking her in to see how pretty everything is, I think she'd be a very happy camper.
Good.
And going with some friends like Jeremy and Ruben, who are so wonderful, and she adores them, I think that will be really fun. And then we'll see what she thinks of the giant characters. We'll see if she thinks, because she loves Minnie Mouse. She loves Minnie and Mickey. We will see.
Watching them on Disney Junior.
Yep. We'll see what she makes of them. Though I'm still very impressed. So she's just hit that point where she can now identify characters.
She came up and tapped on my wristwatch because I have a Mickey Mouse. Oh, can't get it wrong.
Yeah.
Trust me, I have a Mickey Mouse.
He has a Mickey Mouse watch because, of course, he does.
And
the other day,
taps on Daisy, it for the first time, noticed it.
Tapped on it and said, Mickey Mouse.
So she now is developing the concept that Mickey Mouse doesn't just exist here or there or on the screen.
Or in our house, he's everywhere.
He's everywhere, yeah.
But yeah, she loves it. So yeah, I think it'll be really nice. And as I say, going in without expecting anything,
Going back a half turn to Glynis Johns just for a moment.
Yes.
If you don't know who she is, just briefly, concisely, she's a wonderful British actress who got to introduce the song Send in the Clowns, the original Broadway production of A Little Night Music, Stephen Sondheim's wonderful musical, and is probably best known as Mrs. Banks in Mary Poppins, from the original Mary Poppins, I now have to say. But she's a wonderful actress with a unique voice.
Well, she's Welsh, isn't she?
Is she?
I think she's Welsh.
Well, her father, let's see, Mervyn Johns, wonderful character actor. And the first time I met her, I brought her VHS dubs in those days of 2 movies that her father was in.
Yeah.
Which she was thrilled to have. And that was a good entry point.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think that happens quite a bit for you because you know so much about this kind of thing. So she was born in the Union of South Africa.
Oh my.
It says here. And then she was educated in London and Bristol. She's not Welsh. I'm wrong. But she definitely has, that's part of why the accent is unique. Because if you're from Bristol, you have a country accent, which is a bit different. But yeah, it's amazing. Happy 100th. God bless her. I love that she's still here to excite all of us. Michael says he is a big John Carpenter fan, and you think he is the coolest human being in Hollywood. His favorite John Carpenter film is The Fog. What do you think about his career?
I admire his career because it started at USC, where he won an Academy Award for a short subject that starred the late Johnny Crawford. And I love Assault on Precinct 13, his no-budget suspense movie, which is still great. You just have to get past the fact that they didn't have cell phones back then. Which is, when they remade it, they had to invent an excuse.
Yeah, well, that's what you have to do now. That's what you have to do with all those kinds of films. Is like step 1 is finding a way to get rid of the internet. That's step 1. You have to make sure that there's no cell service and no internet, and then that's how they have to get into everything else.
Yep.
Because otherwise, every single thing would end the same way. You'd go, well, I'm just going to call 911 and go, if that's cool with everybody. They can't do that. The whole point is you have to take it away.
But I've run hot and cold on his movies ever since. Now, the one movie of his that I don't care for because I'm a wuss is The Thing. And that's the film that people talk most about, I find. his remake of the thing, and I couldn't help compare because the original was based on not showing the monster
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
until a crucial moment well into the movie, and his version isn't. I don't know how to describe it.
It's a way to describe it.
Yeah.
It isn't. Did you ever meet Michael Gambon?
No, sad to say, but I did. My wife and I
R.I.P.
got to see him on Broadway. I can't remember the name of the play. It was not a classic play. It was a contemporary play. But what I remember most is that he and his few co-stars did not use microphones. Their voices were not amplified.
Yeah.
We were in a Broadway theater.
Yeah.
And we listened to the sound of their voices. And he had a beautiful speaking voice, of course.
I mean, if you're trained, that's what's supposed to happen. That's what they used to make us do.
Yeah.
You remember in the gym, you had the stage on the one end and the bleachers on the other. They'd make us stand at the bleachers and we had to project, but not in a way that sounds like you're yelling. And I remember telling you guys about it. And that's when Mommy brought up seeing, my mom got to see Gypsy on Broadway with Ethel Merman. And she said, well, when Ethel Merman came in from the back of the room, she didn't need to be mic'd. I said, that is true. Do you have a favorite Jolly Frolic cartoon?
No. Those are the Columbia cartoons of the 1940s. Oh, no. If you're talking about the UPA cartoons, then it's Gerald McBoing Boing. That's right.
Sorry, just a great Gerald McBoing Boing.
They were called Jolly Frolics because UPA was a brand new cartoon studio.
Yeah.
And they didn't know what else to call them. They hadn't yet made a star out of Mr. Magoo, who became the breadwinner for UPA Studios. And the Jolly Frolics that's the collection we put out on Turner Entertainment on DVD. You remember DVD?
You remember DVDs.
Shiny? Right.
So funny. Did you ever meet Alastair Sim?
No, but again, I was lucky. I got to see him on stage in London in a restoration comedy. And he was wonderful.
He was Alastair Sim.
He was the wonderful Alastair. Still have it.
I'm sorry for my coughing, guys. Did you ever meet Haley Mills? Do you have a favorite of her flicks? My daughter really enjoyed Pollyanna. Well, we have had her on our show twice. She's done the podcast twice. She is spectacular.
Yeah.
She's spectacular. We've gotten to work with her. Then Disney had us work with her during the pandemic,
right?
Because they were showing some movies and doing sort of like streaming with activities. We got to talk to her then. She is just the coolest and really funny and self-deprecating and honest. She's so honest.
Well, and when she wrote her autobiography, Becky Klein, the archivist at Disney, enabled her to see her file. Yeah. Her file containing all the correspondence between her parents
and Walt
Disney, as well as the business affairs people at the Disney studio. And she learned, it was revelatory for her. She learned what her parents said yes to and what her parents said no to, and how they
the way they spoke. The way they spoke to each other. It's fantastic. That's the thing. So we had her on the first time and it was glorious. And then the second time they reached out to us because they were trying to do publicity for this book that she wrote. And of course we said, yes, I will have her on 4,000 times. I will talk to her any day. But so then she sort of got into that and the process of writing that. And understanding her parents.
One of her kids helped her.
Yeah. But I mean, understanding her parents, understanding why they made the choices that they did, understanding how I think it was cathartic in a lot of ways.
Yes, I believe it was.
You know, because her parents made some decisions that she did not agree with.
The adult she.
Yeah, adult she wished that she could have done more, but her parents were very much determined to keep her, I don't know if you want to say normal, but out of that world. So she really wanted to be in Los Angeles more and work more.
Right.
And they didn't. They wanted her to
her father being
have an education.
Her father being the very popular
Yeah.
British actor John Mills.
Yeah.
He was, I think, the top box office star in the UK.
Oh yeah.
For a number of years, and also was well known here. He's the father in Swiss Family Robinson, the Disney film.
One of my mother's biggest crushes. My mother loves John Mills. They have a picture together. Do you remember where that was taken?
Yes, I know exactly where it was taken because it was when Sir John came here and did his one-man show.
There you go.
At the old TV Academy Auditorium.
Yep.
Though legally blind.
Yeah.
And he made his way around the stage.
Yeah.
He was wonderful.
Yeah.
He was wonderful.
It's and it's so special. But again, and then her godparents. I mean, the stories that she had about being on the West End, not performing, but with her parents and being backstage, and it's just so cool. And I use that word again because getting to hear about the people that she's talking about firsthand, or sitting backstage with the guy who minded the door, the security guy. She'd sit on his lap and watch people come and go. As I said, who were her godparents? It's two. I'm sorry, it's two really famous actors, and I can't think of their names. But yeah, just fascinating stories. She's incredible.
Your mother just saw her on Masterpiece Mystery.
Oh, sure.
Playing an old woman, playing an old lady.
It's such a strange thing to think about, isn't it? Sprocket Vault is putting out a collection of Charlie Chase's 1927 silents. What can you tell us about the silent films? Any favorites, and are they better than his Roach Talkies? Now, buckle up. Leonard Maltin loves Charlie Chase.
Yep.
And not just loves Charlie Chase. And we actually had a tragedy this week.
I brought it here.
A tragedy this week, my friends.
See this innocent looking.
You've heard us talk about this particular film before because we've told you that it lives in our freezer, and it does. That is what has kept it. I have to say, though, it really doesn't look bad. I know what you were talking about, but all things, it doesn't smell bad either.
No.
That's really
all that time in the freezer.
But it just when you ran it through. So he shows it every year to his class at USC, and he shows it to them on film.
I bought this print when I was 18 years old, and it was an original reduction print from 35 millimeter. It was missing a main title. I had that shot by a company in Chicago. You could write away and film titles for your home movies. So I've used this print ever since. And then one day, about say 9 or 10 years ago, either our projectionist at SC or you got the faintest whiff.
Well, it has the vinegar smell. Yeah. It's just very light. So there's a whole argument as to how to keep your films. Some people believe that it's different kinds of physical reels, that if it's metal or if it's plastic or whatever, that's better for it. Some believe you keep it in a can. Some believe different kinds of, there's metal cans, there's plastic cans. Some people do them open.
Yep.
They have them just open and that's how they do it. Some people, obviously, they're very careful with their humidity and everything else. And the reality, I think, is that there is no one way. I think that each film kind of has its own recipe that it needs.
Henri Langlois, the legendary head of the Cinémathèque Française in Paris, believed that nitrate you could extend the life of a nitrate print by rewinding it, winding it and winding it back once a year.
Yeah.
And there are others who subscribe to that theory, and it seems like a good idea.
Yeah, well, it's simple enough to do.
Airing it out, and it's simple enough to do.
But once it starts, once the vinegar has entered
there's no reversing the process. What you can do is retard the process.
Yeah, slow it down.
And that's what
you have done.
The freezer has done. But the other night when I showed it,
I say it doesn't look bad.
No, I know that.
It really doesn't look bad. But you showed it the other night in class.
Yes. And I don't know the make of the projector, of our 60mm projector. I should, but I don't.
Got a lot of lead on this one.
We have a
got a long
excellent
lead on this one.
Projectionist.
Here's this guy.
And when the film started, it was showing the picture and the soundtrack, which means that the film is shrinking.
Okay. So what you can see, so again, this is all, if you don't know, this is Film Leader. And it's what you will, it kind of protect, in terms of just the outside, it kind of protects the outside of the film. So in other words, this dark part where which is the actual film kind of protects that. But then also when you're putting it into a projector, when you are putting the film through, this is what you will sort of start with. And that can also help because I guess it's the wear and tear of just feeding it in. My dad has had the exact same handwriting his entire life, which I realize is not a rare thing, but it's funny to look at something and know that you wrote it when you were 13 and look at something you wrote yesterday and it's identical. But yeah, so if I take the leader, one second, I'm trying to do this carefully. I want to show you guys.
Well, you have to get past that main title.
Yeah, but that's here. Hang on to this bit.
Yep.
Hang on to this bit.
All right. Vinegar syndrome, if you don't know about it.
Hang on. We've got
early motion picture film.
So this here, just to show you guys real quick, this is head, which is how you know that this is where the film begins. Because obviously when you're just holding it like this, it could be anywhere. So this guy says Charlie Chase in the from Pittsburgh. P.S. They spelled Charlie wrong. There's an I-E instead of an E-Y. Charlie Chase is C-H-A-R-L-E-Y.
She knows that.
I do know that. I was going to say you beat it into me, which sounds mentally I don't know. There's no way to say it.
Inculcated.
There you go. You inculcated. Gosh, there's a whole lot, isn't there? Jeez. The film doesn't start. We're still not into the film part yet. They went to town.
I got my $20.
You really did. There we go. Here's the titles. Here's where the titles start. So now if you want to look at these up close, what you do is there's a little sort of like a little pad that lights up and you put that
a light box
underneath and that's how you can see what it says. But yeah, so you ran it and it had shrunk.
And it had shrunk because it was exposing the soundtrack, which is on the side of the film.
Yeah.
And then it stopped and went full frame again.
Yeah, it doesn't
and
smell
then
right.
Jumped again and went full frame again. That projector must be very tolerant.
Yeah.
To have enabled this film to pass through.
Yeah.
Unscathed. And it played very well, by the way. And, and my students liked it a lot.
I can't.
But that's the last time it's going to be projected.
Yeah.
Now, people say to me, well, do you have a video copy? Yes.
Yeah.
Is it available on DVD? Yes. Again, Kit Parker Films.
Yeah. Who
are now doing that 1927 volume.
Yeah. Kit Parker is Sprocket Vault. And you've known Kit forever?
Yeah. And the Library of Congress has a beautiful 35mm print that they made at the request of Turner Classic Movies about 10 years ago when I wanted to show it in a program at their festival. And they struck this new print just for that showing.
Yeah.
So I know it exists in many forms.
What matters in the big picture is it exists.
But I don't have my print
But you don't
anymore.
have your print. But it's in a general, just like an archivist, it exists.
Right.
So you can have it and you can find it, which is great. But that one's yours.
Yep.
So I'm smelling my hands because a lot of times when you touch films that are starting to die, you will smell like vinegar. You'll smell like something kind of chemically. And my hands don't smell like that. And that even smelling the actual print doesn't smell like anything, which is that's what I mean when I say there really isn't one solution to solving the issue of vinegar syndrome, because there are films that you pick up the can and you can smell it. You know it's vinegar in there. And then there's others where you have to get really close and you sort of go, okay, I can smell that it started. I can smell that it's starting to happen. And then there are some that just do fine.
Yeah.
And gosh knows there's a lot that you haven't run in a very long time.
That's right.
And they're okay. It can also spread. Sorry, the other thing is it does spread. So if you have films, if you have a vinegar guy here and you have regular and regular here, it can spread to the others, even through the canisters.
What is the cause? Likely, it wasn't left in the developer or the bath, or at some stage of processing the film.
Yeah.
Shortcut was taken.
They done went wrong
60 or 70 years ago.
Who do I find to yell at? Hi from Norway. Hello in Norway. It is such a beautiful place, and we've been very lucky to visit.
Anyway, 1927 Charlie Chase is cause for celebration. Looking forward to it.
When you were on ET, did any celeb or publicist ever try to bribe or threaten you to give a good review or a good story?
No. No. The simple answer is no. And I was mildly surprised.
Yeah. I think in part your reputation does precede you.
Mm-hmm.
And I kind of think they know that it would be pointless. Just my feeling is I kind of feel like they would go, well, there's that. What are we going to, we're not going to get anywhere with this.
When I was in my earliest weeks there, I gave a bad review to Grease 2, which was a Paramount picture. And one of our producers, I happened to be there when one of our producers got an angry call from Paramount,
from Daddy,
saying, who is this guy? And, why are you letting him, trash our movie on our show? And he said, to my great relief and against mild surprise, listen, we've hired him as the film critic. We're not going to tell him what to say. And,
shocking.
Yeah.
Truly shocking.
Now, it helped that nobody gave a good review to this, too. It's not like it was a maverick opinion.
That's so funny. Would I show Daisy Song of the South? Absolutely. I would absolutely show Daisy Song of the South. The only reason to me that you would have to not show someone something is if there's something in it that I felt she couldn't understand.
Mm-hmm.
Which obviously, again, she's very small right now. Anything I show her has no effect. She doesn't care. But yeah, if she was when she's older, I would show it to her. I don't see anything wrong with it. We've talked about this before, but it's like people have kind of created this boogie monster out of that movie.
Yeah.
And
Chuck Jones used to say in a different context, Chuck Jones used to say when there was a period when CBS Saturday morning was cartoon time on the broadcast networks. And Warner Brothers was being forced to cut violence from their cartoons. You would never see Elmer Fudd shooting a gun. And they started making very, very awkward, heavy-handed cuts. And Chuck said, well, you're not violent, are you? You grew up watching them. Do they have a negative effect on you? And I would say the same about someone who would be so susceptible to viewing a film, a benign movie.
Yeah.
A benign movie like Song of the South. I'm not endorsing slavery. I'm not endorsing giving a false, picture of what the South was like, even in the antebellum years. But for a young child, I don't think any kind of permanent social damage will ensue.
No. Ken is saying he assumes that you met Jimmy Stewart at some point. He did. Was he really as gracious as reports say? I nearly tripped him as a child. That didn't go well for me. I was crawling around on the floor of was it your lawyer, your business manager?
No, our business manager at the time.
And his office was next to Jimmy Stewart's. And I would be playing in there and I nearly tripped him, apparently on more than one occasion. I have no memory of this, but yeah, you actually talked to him like a person.
Yeah, number of times. And he was unfailingly gracious. And he wanted to do a good job. He wanted to give you a good interview.
Yeah. There's a great picture of you two, actually.
That's one of my favorite photos.
Great picture of the two of them. You're like looking at a script together,
Yeah.
and it's one of my favorite pictures that we have. Do you think more filmmakers will and should follow Taylor Swift's example of selling their films to AMC and Cinemark venues? I think every film, like everything else, has its own journey. I think that there are a lot of films that need a studio backing and helping and promoting and doing all that footwork. Whereas a movie, look, anything Taylor Swift is going to do is going to sell, and sell a lot. So you don't really need a publicist for it. She doesn't have to do interviews for this movie to get it attention. Isn't it already sold out? Like, hasn't already? It's like made the most movie of any money.
She's getting people back into movie theaters.
Yeah,
and that's good.
Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I think that everything kind of has its own. It falls into its own little category. How would you define the style of a Ron Clements and John Musker film? Good style. Great.
I don't know that they have a personal style that I could identify. No, I can't. And John Musker just came to my class with his new short, I'm Hip.
He's such a sweetheart.
And which he did almost single-handedly.
Yeah.
He recruited some colleagues from his many, many years at Disney to help with the layout, to help with, getting the process to the finish line. But it took him 4 years.
Yeah.
4 years for a 4-minute short.
Wasn't just easy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think when I look at them, I think that when I look at what they make, it's just they have such a great eye. They both do. Mm-hmm. And a distinct style. Mm-hmm. I don't know. I just love it. Hey, Leonard, this month of Halloween, do you read Famous Monsters magazine? And did you ever meet Forrest Ackerman?
Yes and yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
I was a devotee of Famous Monsters magazine, Famous Monsters of Filmland magazine.
And Forry, which is what all of his friends called him, Forrest Ackerman.
I went to the Acker Mansion early in my time out here in LA. And he was everything I expected him to be, open-hearted, happy to meet a fan, happy to meet a reader. They used to have photos, Jesse. Vincent Price.
I know.
Reading Famous Monsters.
You think you have to tell me after everything with Movie Crazy? That's what you said. You said you wanted to promote them.
Yeah.
When my dad started his second, or I guess third even, fanzine, the one that he published for a while some years ago, he said that the way he wanted to do publicity for it was just like the way they did it for Famous Monsters.
Vincent Price would be reading an issue, and the caption would be, "Wanted more readers like Vincent Price."
Ken says he still has copies of FM of Filmland. Well, so this Movie Crazy. When was Movie Crazy? When did you start doing that?
The aughts.
Yeah, in the 2000s.
First decade.
In the 2000s is when
my millennial.
Yeah, project. It was wonderful. It was really wonderful. 1 second. Okay, there's a person named Elmer here who's losing his mind over the Jackie Condon thing. It's okay, Elmer. There are a lot of them, and sometimes you can't really keep all of the straight, especially the ones that weren't the main characters.
No, he was one of the main characters.
No, I know, but
Jackie was part of the silent era, Our Gang shorts, and he's very cute.
Yeah.
And made a major contribution to Our Gang.
Yeah. Better now? Are we okay now? Someone is mentioning how much you love Thelma Todd. Well, yes, my dad would kill for Thelma Todd. To this day, I think would kill for Thelma Todd. Aren't most 16 millimeter films on safety stock?
Yes.
Not nitrate, so they wouldn't get vinegar syndrome. Well, this is the whole thing.
This is the problem.
They kept trying to come up with ways to solve the problem.
Nitrate film, as you may know, which is silver nitrate cellulose, disintegrates, can self-combust, and deteriorates. which is why Kodak invented safety film originally for home use. That's when they started the Kodascope film libraries in the 1920s, because they created something that wouldn't burn and certainly wouldn't self-combust. And then they put that into the professional marketplace around 1950. And everyone said, well, great. Safer for the projectionists, easier for storage, all of that. Fade in 30 years later, and people start noticing this other issue occurring, which they had to give the name Spittinger syndrome. That's safety film, which we thought was forever.
It was supposed to be safe.
It was supposed to be safe forever.
Yeah.
It turns out not to be the case.
Yeah. Oh, Chris, that's exactly. I think it's okay to not want to watch a film, but that doesn't mean you get to ban it or stop others from watching it. Well, that is exactly correct. Look, this is the problem. I may not be comfortable with something, but someone else is, right? And if the thing that we're talking about, especially if the thing we're talking about is 50, 60, 70 years old, at a certain point, you do have to look at things with that context. And you have to say, okay, I'm not comfortable with this. And I don't want to watch it. And that's okay. It's the same with, obviously, this whole thing of banning books is insane. It's insane. It's insane. But again, if you don't want your kid to see something, read something, whatever, then don't let them read or see that thing. That's your right. You're allowed to do that. You're allowed to feel how you feel. But what you don't get to do is then say, oh, you know how you want to share this? Well, you can't either because I don't want to. It's crazy. It's a crazy thing to do. It really is. And I don't understand. So will those old Black Hawk and Castle home movies get the vinegar syndrome?
Yeah.
Anything can get it. That's the whole point.
Everything is susceptible.
Yeah.
It's 16 millimeter and 35 millimeter.
Yeah. Did you ever interview Michael and Dennis Okuda, who worked on Star Trek?
No, I did not.
But we've told you that because my dad was at Paramount when they were filming Star Trek, we used to see, yes, the various Star Treks. We used to see them in the commissary.
We would see Klingons having lunch.
Correct. And as a kid, that was very confusing. That was very confusing. But I remember, I don't know characters' names, so I don't know Star Trek. Forgive me. But one of the guys who I know is one of the leads, who had one of the squishy faces, I will never forget. I don't even know how old I was, but he was standing next to me as we were getting food. And I did the thing you don't do, but I was young, so I forgive myself. Just stared at him because, believe me, if you'd seen that in person, it would be confusing to you as well. Yeah, it was very funny seeing those characters just walking around. And in many cases, obviously not in costume, because they don't want to eat with those things. Also, just the makeup. It's quite a sight, let's say. Do you have a favorite? Victoria's saying, do you have a favorite Charlton Heston film? He's the TCM Star of the Month.
Well,
a whale.
Well, I'm a fan and defender of Cecil B. DeMille's The Greatest Show on Earth. So that would be one. From his later career, and he's a perfect Moses. He is the guy you'd follow into the desert.
And as Jews, we know what we're talking about, okay? We've had to follow people into deserts. But yeah, so I get that. It's, again, it's funny, right? Different characters, people play different characters. Someone asked earlier if it's hard to watch a movie when you know that the director was not treating the cast well. I think that this is a problem in general when we know as much as we know about everyone doing absolutely everything. It is difficult to watch something and in your head be going, well, the director had an affair with her and that guy just knocked somebody up the other day and this and this and that. Like, it's very hard. I think that now we're so aware of everything else going on, which is why back in the day, they made sure not to let that happen. And they really kept privacy private because
kept the lid on things
because it Important. It meant that you didn't have any feelings when you watched somebody. You just watched it.
I have some show and tell, but
Mm.
first, I saw 2 new movies. One of them is on Netflix right now, and it's called Play Fair.
Fair Play.
Fair Play. I keep getting that wrong. Fair Play with Alden Ehrenreich, and the leading lady is
Phoebe Viner. Phoebe Denever. The Bridgerton. Phoebe Denever. It's somewhere in there.
Written and directed by a relative newcomer, Chloe Dumont, and I had her colleague, the film editor, as my guest the other night, and in my class. He was very interesting. He started working almost immediately upon leaving film school, and he started working as a PA. And he's an example, a living example of the fact that that still works. If you can get into an office or on a location and do a good job getting coffee, we used to call them gophers. Now they call them PAs, production assistants.
It sounds nicer than gopher.
Yeah.
But you're a gopher.
Yeah.
And if you don't, and it's gopher, as in go for this, go for that, go for this.
Go for coffee, go for
not so much the small creature,
right.
More just the go for this, go for that person.
Anyway, so I watched the film on a screen. Most people will see it on Netflix, but it's in theaters as well. And I liked it up to a point. It's about a young couple, who are highly sexually attracted to each other, who both work for a hedge fund firm, Wall Street hedge fund firm. And she gets a big promotion and is the only woman of any clout in the company there. And this causes a series of domino effects and incidents, and it gets way out of hand. And watching it with an audience, my audience of nearly 300 students, was really interesting, because it's a film that toward the end, there were a lot of and there was nervous laughter, genuine laughter, and other,
and other laughters,
and other vocal response, let's call it. And so I don't know if that means they liked it or not.
Yeah. Well, you'll find out next week.
I'll find out.
Are you excited for the new short film for Disney 100 called Once Upon a Studio? Yeah, we saw it a few months ago. It's wonderful.
I hope to show that to my class too.
Yeah, it's wonderful.
It's a beautiful film.
Yeah.
Beautiful little film.
Yeah.
And then I watched a film that is not as wide a release, called Miranda's Victim.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a great story. It's a great true life story about a man whose last name happened to be Miranda. And he is the reason that you have to be read your rights.
Your Miranda rights.
When you're arrested. But the backstory is very interesting. Very interesting. And it was made on a small budget, small in scope. And it's not perfect, but the performances are really fine. Luke Wilson, really, really good. Ryan Phillippe is also good. Abigail Breslin, who really is the lead, excellent. And Donald Sutherland turns up at the end as the judge.
Never a bad time.
And it's Donald Sutherland.
Yeah.
Yes. Hey. Yes, I'll accept him as the judge.
Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Whatever you like, sir. So the question we asked today, we will show your toys. But what are some of your favorite Halloween movies? And for the most part, you guys didn't answer, which is always my favorite. But I think that Young Frankenstein seems to be the one that is listed the most. And as
I heartily agree.
And then my friend Sally said that her son is obsessed with the skeleton dance.
Well, good.
Which is perfect. How much better can it get, Nice. How about a musical? I'm listening to the CD in my car of The Nightmare Before Christmas. Nightmare Before Christmas is, I don't use the term classic lightly, because people loved instant classic. There's no such thing as an instant classic. But it is. It's been around forever for a reason, and it's wonderful. Rosemary's Baby, The Shining, The Haunting, The Fly. That's a good one. The Changeling. I like Ken. Ken is asking on a completely different. Ken is saying, "Will you be getting the new, just released Byworks Flip the Frog Blu-ray?"
You bet. You bet I will.
1 second. What are your favorite movie cliches? My favorite: when a roast is cooked, it will inevitably be burnt. This is followed by the would-be chef suggesting dinner out. I don't think I have favorite cliches. I'm more annoyed that it's like it's raining and they don't have an umbrella and they run inside and then they're wet and they're, getting each other dressed. There's so many. There's so many that you know exactly what's going to happen next. And sometimes that's okay.
Abbott and Costello Meet Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah.
Never a bad time.
Oh, yeah.
And this is an especially good time.
Yeah. Someone else, who's your favorite of the classic monsters, the Universal monsters?
Ooh, that's hard. That's tough. It's Boris Karloff's Frankenstein monster and Bela Lugosi's Count Dracula.
Because you can't go wrong, because they're both fantastic. My favorite film is The Exorcist, and because of that, I don't want the experience defiled by watching an inferior sequel.
I would encourage you to follow your instincts.
I've heard awful things about the new release. Is there a sequel that really That's a strange phrasing, Matt. Is there a sequel that really peed in your cornflakes?
It's a corner phrase. I can't think of anything that would that would suit that description.
I mean, here's the thing. In a general sense, sequels tend not to be as good as the first, right?
I don't like to be scared. I don't like jump scares. I like eerie, creepy movies. I like the Val Lewton movies. I like Cat People. Even The Leopard Man, which isn't nearly as good, but those scenes where it's things that go bump in the night, things you almost see, but you don't see, things that you can imagine. In modern day, recent, The Others, Amenabar's film with Nicole Kidman. That to me is a really good ghost story. 28 Days.
Oh, that's a good one. That's
scary as hell.
Yeah, that's a
because it's conceivable that it could happen.
I mean, it kind of did.
Yeah.
But I think I'm with you. I don't like gore. I do not like gore. I can handle it if it's funny. We love Tucker and Dale vs. Evil. That's a great film.
That's a terrific movie.
That's a great film.
If you've not seen Tucker and Dale versus Evil,
it's so much fun and it's really well done. And it's best if you know nothing about it and just watch it. But that has some gore in it, but it's funny.
Yeah.
So when the things happen, you're laughing and it's kind of ridiculous. And that's pretty great. We enjoy that. I do like, what's it called? You like Frankenweenie.
Yeah.
You like Frankenweenie. I found it a bit too sad, but Frankenweenie, it's great looking. It's great looking film. Yes, American Werewolf in London. Yeah, there's lots of...
Yes, I like American Werewolf in London. And I also like Innocent Blood, another John Landis film.
Yeah. Oh, Shaun of the Dead is brilliant. I love the Cornetto trilogy. I do.
Adding humor to horror the way they did is an unbeatable combination.
Yeah. Well, but that's it. Is again, it's something that if something is written well and it wraps you up, and then it also makes you laugh, it just becomes a more enjoyable situation. Murnau's Nosferatu is the best horror film ever. It's a good one. Going off that, I love Shadow of the Vampire. We love Shadow of the Vampire.
Where Willem Dafoe plays Max Schreck.
Yeah. Oh, I'm so glad this person purchased Tucker and Dale vs. Evil on iTunes because of your interview on the podcast with Alan Tudyk. That's great.
Oh, terrific.
How brilliant is Alan Tudyk? I will fight for that man. I love him, and I think he's so smart and he's so talented. So talented. Let's see what you got.
Well, we're going to spend a few minutes introducing Lupino Lane, part of a centuries old theatrical family.
Mm-hmm.
Ida Lupino is in that chain of family tree. But Lupino Lane became a big star in the music halls in England and the Empire. And his biggest hit was a show called Me and My Girl, in which he performed a song called The Lambeth Walk. And then he published this book, which has in it, I have a signed copy, autographed in 1954.
I think to Danny or Davy or someone with a Danny, sound.
With the kindest of wishes.
Mm-hmm.
In here are diagrams of pratfalls, how to take a variety of different pratfalls. He was an acrobatic comedian. He came to Hollywood in the late 20s and made some very funny and very elaborate two-reel silent comedies. And when you see what he does, control he has over his body, it's pretty astonishing. And if you ever have a chance to see the Ernst Lubitsch musical Love Parade with Maurice Chevalier, he's great in that.
And yes, Arthur's saying, it's Ida's father. Ida
no, not father.
No, it's
uncle.
Uncle, sorry. Not father, uncle.
This is an official Lupino Lane doll issued in the 1940s. And when Me and My Girl was revived on Broadway in the 80s, Jim Dale took the starring role, and Jim Dale had one of these dolls in his dressing room as a good luck charm.
Mm-hmm.
And that enabled me to get a story on Entertainment Tonight about Lupino Lane. And
it's those little wins. Yet we've been trying to get Nathan Fillion on the podcast. He is working all the time, but he has said yes. I'm hoping one day it'll happen. So they are
doing the Lambeth Walk.
Doing the Lambeth Walk.
Okay, that's enough for now. Thank you. And that's Lupino Lane.
And that's Lupino Lane. Do we have any recent Disneyana pieces? Don't think anything. I mean, other than your Oswald stuff, but that was just like regular. That's like regular people things that you can find in a store. No, I don't think we have anything. You don't have any new collectible-y objects.
Oh, because I can't bring anything else into this house. I really can't, unless it's a pin.
I was going to say, I can't bring anything else in this house unless it's small. Then maybe.
I recently purchased 2 lapel pins.
You showed them.
And I showed them to you a few weeks ago. And that's it.
He's very well behaved right now because there's literally nowhere to put
There's
anything.
no space.
There's
no room.
There's just nowhere. As I look around and I just use stuff. You know what we got, folks? Stuff. It's interesting seeing you guys mention different Halloween movies. It's funny. Everybody has sort of different things that, whether it's somebody was just asking over here if you think of Jaws and Jurassic Park as horror films or not. And I think it just depends kind of, I guess to me, they're more like thriller or suspense than horror, though when someone's getting eaten by a shark, pretty horrifying. But that's, it's tricky. I think it just depends on sort of what you like. I love all of the really cute Halloween specials I'm watching with Daisy right now. There's some really cute Minnie Mouse and Daisy ones. I like stuff that's fun.
Michael's mentioning two films I like: Night of the Demon with Dana Andrews, and the Uninvited. Before the others, a generation before the others, the best ghost story that Hollywood ever made, because it doesn't try to explain it away. There are ghosts.
Yeah. Yeah. Hocus Pocus, of course. No, if you're around the same age as me, then obviously everybody watched Hocus Pocus. Though when it came out, it scared the crap out of me. It's very dark, and I don't think it's a kid's movie. Like, I don't feel like it's a kid's movie. I think it's too scary. But again, kids are different now, I guess. They see a lot more scary stuff. Who knows? Yeah, we're not huge Halloween people. We like it. I love decorations. I'm a big fan of decorations. Just in life, I'm a big fan of decorations. But yeah, there's not really anything we do specifically. Where we used to live,
It was Halloween Central.
It was Halloween Central, and you would get, quite literally, you get as many as 30,000 kids in the neighborhood. It was known for that. When you, if you wanted to sell your house, you had to tell people, you to let them know what Halloween is like, that there's so many people that come through, and it's nuts. So that was sort of our tradition for a long time, was just handing out tons of candy and seeing all these kids. Where we live now, virtually no one trick-or-treats. So it's a bit different, and I do miss it. I do miss seeing all the kids and the costumes. That was a lot of fun for a long time. But yes, we don't really do a whole lot more than that. Though Alice does like a good witch hat and has collected several. So that's happened. And you have one costume that you wear repeatedly. And by costume, I mean gloves. He has Mickey Mouse gloves, and he puts those on. And that's Halloween. Oh, hi, baby. And with that, as I hear the small monster coming our direction, we will say goodbye to everybody. And we will see you next week.
Have a good week.
Everybody be safe and take good care of yourself. There's a lot of, hi, baby. There's a lot of colds and such going around. So take good care of yourself. You coming? Do you want to say bye-bye? Do you want to say bye-bye, sweetheart? Hi, sweetie pie. Come here. Hi, baby. Come here. You want to say bye-bye? Ready? Look at how big she is. Look at how big you are. How'd you get so big? How'd you get so big? Mommy. I know. That's me. I'm the mommy. Okay. You want to say bye, everybody? Say bye, everyone. It's nice to see you. Bye-bye. Bye, guys.
Be kind.